London, 1978. A bustling metropolis, a beacon of freedom, yet beneath its veneer of normalcy, the Cold War's shadow loomed large. This is the story of Georgi Markov, a Bulgarian dissident whose critiques of his homeland's communist regime echoed across the Iron Curtain, infuriating those in power. His voice, a potent weapon against totalitarianism, would soon be silenced in the most audacious and chilling manner imaginable, with a poisoned umbrella tip on a crowded bridge. This wasn't just a murder. It was a brazen act of state-sponsored terror, an invisible assault that unveiled the ruthless lengths to which regimes would go to suppress dissent, leaving behind a legacy of fear and unanswered questions. It was September 7th, 1978, a seemingly ordinary Thursday. Georgi Markov, a prominent Bulgarian writer and BBC journalist, was making his way across Waterloo Bridge in London, heading to work at the BBC World Service office at Bush House. The late summer air was crisp, the Thames glinted, and pedestrians bustled past, oblivious to the grim fate about to unfold. Markov, a defector living in exile, had grown accustomed to the freedoms of the West, but he was also acutely aware that his outspoken criticism of the Bulgarian communist regime had made him an enemy of the state. He felt watched, a sense of foreboding that often accompanies those who challenge powerful authorities. As Markov waited for a bus near the south end of the bridge, he felt a sharp, stinging pain in his right thigh. Turning, he saw a man fumbling to pick up an umbrella, muttering an apology in what sounded like a foreign accent. The man quickly hailed a taxi and vanished into the London traffic. Markov, initially dismissing it as a clumsy accident, noticed a small red welt forming on his leg. He recounted the incident to a colleague later, remarking on the unusual nature of the umbrella's tip. Little did he know, this fleeting, almost inconsequential encounter was the very moment his life was irrevocably altered, the opening act of a sinister plot that would shock the world. Georgi Ivanov Markov was more than just a journalist. He was a celebrated novelist, playwright, and essayist whose work had initially thrived in Bulgaria. However, his independent spirit and growing disillusionment with the communist regime led to increasing censorship and eventually his defection to the West in 1969. From London, he became a powerful voice on Radio Free Europe and the BBC World Service, broadcasting scathing critiques of the Bulgarian Communist Party leader Todor Zhivkov. His in absentia reports were immensely popular, exposing the corruption and hypocrisy of the totalitarian state, turning him into a symbol of resistance and a dangerous enemy to those he exposed. After the umbrella incident, Markov experienced a mild headache and nausea, symptoms he initially attributed to a cold. But over the next few hours, his condition rapidly deteriorated. He developed a high fever, severe stomach cramps, and persistent vomiting. By the evening, he was gravely ill, struggling to breathe. His wife, Annabelle, grew increasingly alarmed as his symptoms spiraled beyond anything resembling a simple flu. The seemingly innocuous prod had unleashed an invisible terror, a poison silently working its way through his system, mocking modern medicine's understanding and leaving a trail of agonizing suffering in its wake. On September 8th, Markov was admitted to St. James's Hospital in Balham, South London. Doctors were completely baffled by his rapid decline. His white blood cell count plummeted, his organs began to fail, and despite extensive tests, they couldn't identify the cause of his illness. He recounted the umbrella incident to the medical staff, but without any physical evidence or known precedent for such an attack, it was largely dismissed as a coincidental detail. The physicians, accustomed to treating familiar diseases, were confronting an unknown enemy, a silent assassin operating with devastating efficiency, leaving them powerless to halt its relentless progress. Despite the tireless efforts of the medical team, Georgi Markov succumbed to his mysterious illness 4 days after the attack, on September 11th, 1978. He was 49 years old. A post-mortem examination was immediately ordered. During the autopsy, a crucial discovery was made: a tiny, spherical metal pellet, no bigger than the head of a pin, about 1.52 millimeters in diameter, was found embedded in his thigh, precisely at the site of the umbrella prod. This minuscule object, barely visible to the naked eye, was the key to understanding his horrific death. It was sophisticated, deadly, and unlike anything British authorities had ever encountered. The pellet was quickly analyzed by Porton Down, Britain's top-secret chemical and biological defense establishment. Their findings were chilling. The pellet contained a microscopic amount of ricin, one of the most potent toxins known to man. Ricin is derived from castor beans, and even a dose the size of a few grains of salt can be fatal if injected or inhaled. The pellet itself was ingeniously designed, with 4 tiny holes sealed with a wax-like substance that would melt at body temperature, slowly releasing the ricin into Markov's bloodstream. It was a weapon of incredible precision and cruelty, designed to inflict maximum suffering with minimal trace. The discovery of the ricin pellet immediately pointed towards state-sponsored assassination. Ricin was not a readily available substance, and the sophisticated delivery mechanism suggested professional intelligence agency involvement. Suspicions swiftly fell upon the Bulgarian Secret Service, the Darzhavna Sigurnost, DS, known for its brutal suppression of dissidents. British intelligence, MI5, quickly connected the dots, linking the assassination to previous threats Markov had received in similar, though failed, attempts on other Bulgarian exiles. The shadow of the KGB, the Soviet Union's principal security agency, also loomed large, suspected of providing the training and the weapon itself to their Bulgarian allies. Scotland Yard launched a massive investigation, but the assassin, dubbed Agent Piccadilly or the Umbrella Man, was never caught. The Cold War climate severely hampered efforts, with intelligence agencies on both sides reluctant to share information. Though the Bulgarian regime was widely implicated, definitive proof remained elusive. Years later, defectors provided testimonies, and archives were opened, revealing chilling details of the plot, including orders from the highest levels of the Bulgarian government. Yet, despite these revelations, the full truth, the identity of the assassin and all those responsible, has never been completely brought to justice, leaving a wound in history that remains unhealed. Georgi Markov's assassination, often dubbed the Umbrella Murder, remains one of the most infamous political killings of the Cold War. It exposed the brutal tactics employed by totalitarian regimes to silence opposition, even on foreign soil. The use of a sophisticated, undetectable poison delivered in such an audacious manner sent a shiver through intelligence agencies worldwide and served as a chilling precedent for future state-sponsored chemical attacks. Markov's courage in speaking truth to power ultimately cost him his life, but his story continues to resonate, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made in the pursuit of freedom and the enduring darkness that can lurk beneath the surface of seemingly ordinary days. The assassination of Georgi Markov stands as a stark testament to the lengths totalitarian states will go to suppress dissent. His death by a ricin-tipped umbrella was not merely a crime. It was a Cold War message, a chilling demonstration of power designed to instill fear in anyone daring to speak out. While the immediate perpetrators may never face full justice, Markov's voice, though silenced, continues to echo through history, reminding us of the fragility of freedom and the enduring courage of those who choose to defy oppression. It's a tale of espionage, defiance, and a tiny, almost invisible weapon that changed the course of one man's life and left an indelible mark on global geopolitics.